No Brainer MMA. I'm here with my trusty sidekick, Connor. How do you like that?
Fuck you.
Yeah. I didn't like it either.
Sidekick?
We ain't no sidekicks, we're partners.
Yeah. We're partners.
Fucking partners.
Partners in crime,
Yeah,
I guess.
literally.
No, we don't commit crime.
We may commit crimes. It's up to your imagination what we do in our spare time.
I wanted people to think that we're badass, so maybe.
I don't know. Some people who are watching know who we are and know what we do.
All of our street
Some
cred.
people watching have no idea what's going on.
Nothing is going on.
I do have an announcement to make. I may not be able to live tweet the Rozenstruik
Sakai.
card. I have a wake and a funeral to go to. My uncle passed away over the last couple days, and they didn't want to have it over Memorial Day, so it seems like it's going to be this upcoming weekend. But it is what it is, and bob and weave.
Bob and weave.
Keep things moving. Tough week, but
Well said.
We're always here.
Hell yeah. All right. What are we calling this? We're calling this
UFC Fight Night Rozenstruik versus Sakai. It's a pretty weak main event. It seems like a fucking co-main event if you ask me, but
yeah.
If you look at the July lineup, it looks very nice. I'm pulling it up on my phone right now, so my bad. I'm on my phone, but they have what is it? I think you sent it to me. Poirier McGregor 3, Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez, and Corey Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw, all in a 3-week period.
That's crazy.
Yeah, insane.
That's great. So this one's, I still like this card. I think the depth on it is pretty good. I like a lot of people on the prelims.
I do like the depth.
Yeah.
I don't like the main event, but I like the card as a whole.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't like that Walt Harris, Marcin Tybura co-main either. I'm gonna be honest with you there.
Yeah. And I don't know what the fuck's going on with Roman Delete say.
What? You know,
I feel like he just doesn't fight up to his potential, and he's never like. I'm going to spoiler alert. I'm gonna advise you to not bet on that fight.
Oh, dude, come on. He has one loss. He only has. He's green to the sport. He doesn't even have 10 fights.
I know, but it's just like every time it's just like, yo, you can finish this guy. You just don't put up he just doesn't put up enough output.
He's only lost once.
Well, we getting right into this, or are we bullshitting anymore?
Oh, no, we'll get right into this. Claudio Puelles versus Jordan Leavitt.
Yes, sir.
Take it or leave it. I think it's Leavitt, actually. Jordan Leavitt, 2-0 under the UFC umbrella with 2 first-round finishes, and most recently coming off a round 1 KO slam of Matt Wyman. He's 8-0 with 5 wins coming by sub, winning half of his fights by first-round finish, and winning 75% of his fights by finish in general. He's finished his fights in the UFC fast. We haven't really seen too much of his striking game, but he has shown his crazy ground game. He's going to be taking on Claudio Puelles, who's 2-1 in the UFC, hasn't fought in just over 2 years. And his last time out, he went to decision with Marco Mariano, who was 6-5 at the time. He also wins mostly by submission with 5 on his record. He's been knocked down in 2 of his in 2 of his 3 UFC fights, and he's got a minus 1.75 striking differential. Takes a lot of damage and is pretty poor in his stand-up. I think that Jordan Leavitt takes this one for sure.
Yeah, so I'm gonna disagree with you on the for sure. So Jordan Leavitt, he's obviously a great ground fighter. He's trying to get the fight to the ground. He loves slams. Actually, Puelles loves slams too. They both slam their opponents down to the ground. So it's a matter of who imposes their will, or it might just turn into a stand-up match. We don't really know where Jordan Leavitt's stand-up game is at. Puelles is solid. I mean,
Mm.
You know, he's a ground guy himself. You know,
Right,
so
he's a ground guy.
yeah, it's a weird one. Anyway,
Striking style.
his slams are super powerful. But he's just a stud on the ground. He's suffocating with his top pressure. Great, like he throws out some great submissions. He's always trying to finish the fight. Jordan Leavitt is a finisher. Um, Moving on to Puelas, he's also a submission slash ground artist with some slams himself. Uses some solid ground and pound with heavy top pressure. Beautiful level changes, but maybe prone to some sweeps. He's been swept before by people I didn't consider very high level grapplers. Um, Much more solid opponent than I originally thought. Puelas is actually like a stud. Um, Both of these guys are, ground wizards, Um, yeah, so like he's a submission artist in his own right. His chin can be worrying as a stand up. He almost got knocked out by Felipe Silva. Twice he got knocked down. And had a comeback victory in that fight. Otherwise, he would have been 0-2 in the UFC or something like
Yeah.
that. Uh,
Getting spammed.
yeah, so he pulled like a Hail Mary knee bar in his last fight. So, I honestly, with looking at the odds for this fight, where is it? Leave it, Jordan, leave it. Why can't I find
Minus 200 favorite, Jordan Leavitt. Take it or leave it.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna take Puelas. I think that he gets a split decision victory.
All right. Cool. We're gonna disagree on that one. Dan's going Puelas. I'm going Jordan Leavitt. And we're gonna move right into the next one. Yusuf Zalal versus Sean Woodson, right, Dan?
Yeah, that's the one for me. Yes, it is. Yeah, so I'll start off with this one. Yusuf Zalal. I had a lot of faith in Yusuf Zalal, but to be honest, in his last two fights, he hasn't looked very good. Against Ilia Topuria, who I think is going to be a future top 5 featherweight. So you take that with a grain of salt,
Yeah.
And Sungwoo Choi, who's solid in his own right, but they were both able to like kind of bully him and kind of like, I don't know, they just kind of beat up on him. Before that, he had 3 straight wins in the UFC over Austin Lego, Jordan Griffin, and Peter Barrett. Yeah, it's this one. I'm not I love Yusuf Zalal and I want him to win his fights, but I kind of it is this fight I am kind of tentative on. Woodson has some nasty striking. He can pick you apart from the outside. He's got a ridiculous reach. He's a featherweight with a 79-inch reach, 6'2". You don't see that every day. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. You don't see that.
Woodson's also, I think, a pretty sizable favorite in this fight. He's a minus 190. I'm seeing minus 170 to 190, minus 175, minus 185. He's minus 200s. Yeah, so it's a lot of people are taking Woodson just because they think like Zalal's not going to be able to keep up standing with him. But I think Zalal has to take this fight to the ground if he wants to win. Zalal is a fighter that can take the fight to the ground, you know? His last loss was against Choi, but he only took that fight on a week's notice, you know?
Yeah.
Before that, he lost the fairly one-sided decision to Ilia Topuria. Got taken down and controlled for over 8 minutes. Takedown defense is something that concerns me, but Woodson's not going to be looking to turn him down. He's a well-rounded fighter that can strike and grapple, Some wins he incorporates his wrestling a lot, and some he likes to keep them on the feet a lot. This fight, I think he's going to try to incorporate his wrestling a lot. Seems to give up some strength to the rest of the division. It kind of just seems like, or at least to a couple guys he's fought, but it just seems like he can't put everything all together yet. And I think this fight will get him on track. So I'm taking another underdog here. Woodson, I get it. He's a solid fighter. He has almost 50 amateur boxing fights. He's a nice rangy fighter. He has a nasty straight 1-2. But he does slow down as the fight wears on. He's got solid sub defense, but he has been subbed. He did get subbed in his last fight in a back and forth fight with Julian Erosa. On his contender series fight where he was getting destroyed, he was taking the fight on 5 days notice. The guy was like grapple fucking him, and he just landed a perfect flying knee on like takedown attempt that the guy didn't set up or anything. He just lands a knee, knocks the guy out cold, boom, gets signed to the UFC. And boom, he's 7-1, you know, and he's a almost minus 200 favorite. I think Zalal's a great underdog pick for this fight.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree with you here. Yusuf Zalal, 3-2 in the UFC, fought 4 times in 2020, going 3-1. He's currently riding a 2-fight losing streak to Poirier, like you said, and Choi, and Choi too?
Yeah.
Choi. He's got a plus 0.9 striking differential and averages 2.4 takedowns per fight. He's really well-rounded, has some good striking defense as well, with a striking defense of 65%. Good wherever the fight goes, and also very tough. He's never been finished. He has 4 losses on his record, but all by decision. He's going to be taking on Sean Woodson, who's 2-1 in the UFC, coming off his first career loss to big underdog at the time, Julian Erosa, in a very close fight up until he got caught in the third by a Darce choke. But
Woodson, he kind of gassed.
Yeah, but like Dan said, he's got some really great striking, over 100 significant strikes in 2 out of his 3 UFC fights, with a +2 striking differential and 77% takedown defense. Zalal is definitely more well-rounded of the two, but Woodson will have a 5-inch reach advantage.
For sure.
Depending on where you look, I think it says 4 to 5. But I think that Zalal will be able to close the distance and take him down. We've seen Woodson get taken down in all of his fights, actually. So it's...
And Zalal's got a solid take. He's a solid wrestler in his own right.
Yeah, he's there to take you down. That's
what I see happening in this fight is the first round is pretty stagnant. Woodson might even take the first round. But Zalal's going to be pressuring up him against the fence, wearing on him, you know, doing the dirty work. And then the second and the third is when he gets him down and starts beating him up. You know, like that's what I see happening in this fight.
I agree, Dan. I think we're both agreeing on the underdog here in Yusuf Zalal.
Let's go. I'd love to see that.
Moving right into the next one. Marina Moraz versus who is this, Dan?
Marina Moroz versus Manon Fiorot. Okay. This is actually a really good fight. They're both pretty solid strikers in their own right. Hang on, I pulled up the wrong thing. What's it called? Fiorot or Fiorot? I'm gonna call it Fiorot. I think she's French, so you pronounce it like that. She's coming off of a TKO win over Victoria Leonardo, but she just looked phenomenal.
That was a great fight.
Southpaw with nasty kicks. Why can't I find it? There we go. Yeah. She throws these side kicks to create distance. She has a Muay Thai kickboxing background as well. This time out, like last fight she wasn't kicking to the body as much as I thought she was. I want to see her kick to the body a little bit more. I want her to kick to the head, body, and legs. She breaks off the clinch with some vicious elbows as well. Her striking is straight nasty. she could be a serious contender in the 125 division in the future. She landed a takedown in that fight too, so she showed off some of her well-roundedness. Could be a serious problem for the division. In her last fight, before she finished the fight, she had a beautiful check right hook and then was able to kind of blitz a finish from there. Yeah, the only thing I want is just the commentators even said it. I wanted to kick to the body a little bit more. She like kicks like she kicks your chest, or she'll kick your legs, or she'll go for the high kick. But like I want to see like that body kick right under the elbow. Like that's what I want to see from her. Miraz herself, she can strike. Um, she's got some pretty nasty technical striking as well. High volume fighter with some creative takedowns. Takedowns is something that Fiorot isn't very used to. She's definitely a complete stand-up fighter. She's not like, oh, I'm gonna mix it up and do this and that and that. I know she had a takedown in her last fight, but like she was just destroying her in that fight. So, um, yeah, like I think that Fiorot has to weather off the takedowns, because the takedowns is what's going to cost her the fight. It's a solid second opponent for the prospect in Fiorot. She complete Moreau's completely outclassed her last opponent in all areas. I forget her name. Um,
Oh.
I think Bueno Silva. Maria Bueno Silva, she just absolutely destroyed her. She also has a win over Sabina Mazo. These are two pretty high level people. They're kind of throwing Fiorot to the wolves immediately, but like I don't think that's unjustified, because she's shown to be pretty fucking solid so far. So yeah, I'm going to take Fiorot in this fight. I think she either out damages her or gets a finish. She's a finisher too. She can finish a fight.
Yeah, for sure. Moreau, you're done right then? You're all good?
That's me.
Awesome. Moreau's 2-2 in her last four. Only fighting once a year since 2017. Half of her wins coming by submission, and currently fights out of ATT. Her stats don't really jump out at you. She's got an even striking differential, only 31% striking defense and 47% takedown defense.
Moreau's?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's going to be taking on Farrow, who's coming off a UFC debut win where she finished the fight by TKO in the second. She lost her pro MMA debut, but since has gone on an 8-fight winning streak, counting 2 exhibition fights that she had in one of those wannabe Ultimate Fighter reality TV show ripoffs.
Yeah, I think she won it too.
Yeah, she did. She was the ECF and UAE flyweight champ. She wins 75% by KO TKO, has some really heavy hands, especially for a 125er. I'm going to go and agree with Dan, and I'm going to take Fiorot in this fight.
Nasty.
But Moreau's has never been finished, so I could see this one go into decision, so you never know what could happen. But I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take Fiorot.
Yeah, I mean, what's it called? In the Bueno Silva fight, that was a dope fight. Moreau's got hurt and could have been finished in that fight. And I think Fiorot hits a lot harder than Bueno Silva. So I could see a finish in this fight.
Yeah, I agree with you. And she just keeps finishing people. She's got heavy hands for it.
Very impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive. Okay, so we're agreeing on that one. We're going Fiorot. We're going to move right into the next one. Alan Patrick versus Mason Jones.
You mind if I take this one?
Take it away.
Because you got the.
I'll take the next like 2 or 3.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. So Mason Jones versus Alan Patrick. Alan Patrick, I'm sorry. I feel like the UFC is just trying to give Mason Jones a win here. Alan Patrick's coming off of 2 straight losses to Scott Holtzman and Bobby Green. He was defeated pretty soundly in both fights. I'm pretty. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm pulling this up. Why can't I find it? Mason Jones, there we go. Yeah, in his last he got outlanded 61-19 by Bobby Green and outlanded 73-25 to Alan Patrick. So he's kind of just been getting beat up recently. He's a takedown guy. He has 38% takedown accuracy, and he's just a guy that likes to take the fight to the ground. He hasn't been very successful, and it's not like Bobby Green has world-class takedown defense either. So, yeah. Mason Jones, on the other hand, he's now a Team Alpha Male affiliate. I don't know if he's still definitely sticking with Team Alpha Male, but he definitely trains with Team Alpha Male. He's a stand-up fighter with boxing experience, lost a close fight in his last fight in his UFC debut. And he specifically asked in his UFC debut, I don't want somebody to beat up on to grow me. He's like, give me a challenging opponent. And they gave him a really good boxer. And he lost a unanimous decision, but it was a close fight. He's growing as a fighter, becoming more well-rounded, even though he does have a black belt in judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Yeah, like I said, fight of the night in his debut against Mike Davis, even though he lost. Throws beautiful uppercut as well as other strikes. Throws some combos that are vicious. He's not afraid to stand and bang with you. He's a stand-up fighter. I think as long as he doesn't overextend in this fight, he may even get the finish. But I'm going to take Jones by decision or KO. This is a rebound fight for Mason Jones.
Yeah, Alan Patrick, 2-2 in his last 4, fought twice in 2016, then took 2 years off, fought twice in 2018, then took another 2 years off. Most recently coming off a unanimous decision loss to Bobby Green, like Dan said. He's a BJJ black belt. He averages 3.5 takedowns per fight. He's got a minus 0.85 striking differential, only averages 1.8 strikes per minute over the course of his 8 UFC fight career. He's taken on Mason Jones, who's coming off his debut loss, UFC debut and first career loss to Mike Davis. 75% of his fights have ended by finish. He holds a black belt in, like Dan said, BJJ judo, but also is a black belt in kickboxing and a former pro boxer. With a
he's got boxing. He's got former pro boxing experience. Yeah. This guy's well-rounded.
He's basically a black belt in like almost every facet of mixed martial arts. And he's the former Cage Warrior lightweight and welterweight champion. He was double champ over there. Patrick definitely has the experience, but he's almost 38 years old. I don't really like how he's taken a lot of time off in between fights.
I don't like his age either.
Yeah, he's slowed down recently. Especially he did not look good in his last fight. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with Mason Jones in this one, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the UFC is setting him up perfectly for a win.
Yeah, and I used to like Alan Patrick, but he just doesn't look the same recently. Yeah. All right, so we're agreeing on that one. Both going Mason Jones. We're gonna move right into the next one for Francisco Trinaldo versus Muslim Salikov. Trinaldo, a lot of people have written off Trinaldo already just because he's creeping up on 43 years old, but he's still got it, in my opinion. What he
did to that Jai Herbert guy that Dan Hardy had to restrain him from. He had a beautiful left hand and knocked him out.
He's just defying age. He's currently on a 3-fight winning streak over some great competition. Bobby Green, John Makdessi, and Jai Herbert, like Dan said. He's got a black belt in kickboxing and a BJJ brown belt. He's showing signs of age a little bit. He weighed in 4 pounds over in his last time out. But then he went and made up for it by getting the KO. He's moving up to welterweight for this fight, and he's going to be taking on Muslim Salikov, who's 4-1 in his last 5, or in the UFC in general, only losing his debut, and is on a 4-fight winning streak, most recently coming off a split decision, very close win over Zaleski dos Santos. He has a Master of Sports in Sanda, a Master of Sports in Complex Mixed Martial Arts, and a BJJ blue belt, and has a 185-13 kickboxing record. I think this is going to be a close, mostly stand-up battle, but I'm going to go with the bigger and younger guy, Muslim Salikov, in this one.
I'm going to completely agree with you. Like I said, Father Time catches up. Father Time catches up to everybody, you know?
I'm not even saying I don't even think that Father Time has caught up to Trinaldo. I think he can still fight for a decent amount of like a couple more years at least. But this is not a good fight for him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think so either. What's it called? Muslim Salikov is coming. Like he came into the UFC pretty hot. He lost his debut, but after that, he knocked out his last two. He knocked out his next two opponents.
Yeah.
He has a win over Laureano Staropoli, who I think we might be getting into later. He actually has a spinning heel kick win over Melvin Gillard. For those OGs who remember who Melvin Gillard is, do you remember Melvin Gillard?
I do.
Yeah, he was a beast. I was a big fan of him. He went on like a run for a little bit. I was very excited for him. But yeah, I really like the way this guy fights. I wish I saw more tape on him, but it's just he's 36 years old. The time to make a run is now, and I think that he goes out and gets it. You know. Trinaldo's a really tough guy to finish, though. I'll say that.
Yeah. He's tough all around. It's a tough fight.
Yeah.
Solid competition, but
I can maybe see like maybe he'll set up like an arm triangle or something. He's done it before. If he finishes, if he does get the if he does, who knows? Maybe he can knock him out too. Either way, I'm taking Muslim Salikov in this fight.
Yeah, I'm just worried about Trinaldo. You know, he's moving up 15 pounds. You know,
I don't like that.
Former 155er, he's gonna be fighting at welterweight for the first time in his UFC career. I'm pretty sure.
Watch our weight division video where we discuss what the weight classes should really be.
Yeah, little promo right there. All right, so we're both agreeing. We're both going Muslim Salikov. Gonna move right into the next one. Tanner Boser versus Ilir Latifi. Boser 3-2 in the UFC, coming off a loss that was one of the worst robberies of 2020 against Andrei Arlovsky.
You thought that was a robbery?
Yeah, I thought that was a robbery.
He lost that fight against Andrei Arlovsky.
Dude, no way. Watch that again.
I watched that twice.
That was like the worst. That was, I think, probably the worst robbery of 2020.
It was a terrible fight.
Oh, it was so boring.
He didn't do anything.
Oh my god.
It was like he was starstruck by Andrei Arlovsky, which.
But have you Arlovsky lately just does the same thing in all of his fights. He goes to decision every single fight. It's just like it's not fun to watch anymore unless he's getting his nose broken off or something like that. But that's all the other guy. He's a great striker. He's one of the least heavyweights on the roster and usually has the quickness advantage in his striking against his opponents. He has a plus 1.8 striking differential with 63% striking defense, not to mention 100% takedown defense. He's taken on Ilir Latifi, UFC veteran on a 3-fight losing streak and former 205er. He just made his UFC heavyweight debut against Derek Lewis and lost via unanimous decision.
I'm survived. I'm shocked he survived after he couldn't survive a fight against Volkan Ozdemir, but he survived a fight against Derek Lewis. Blows my mind.
Explain that. I don't get that either, Dan. Doesn't make any sense.
MMA math for you.
Yeah, exactly. He has a really grappling heavy approach. He was former Swedish wrestling team member. Averages 2 takedowns per fight, 100% takedown defense over the course of 13 fights. Latifi just turned 37. I don't really like him at heavyweight. He's a short guy. He's probably the shortest heavyweight. He's listed at 5'8", but do you think he's 5'8", Dan?
Probably like 5'6".
I think he's shorter than that. I'm gonna go Boser in this one. I've seen Latifi get picked apart on the feet, especially recently, and I think Boser is gonna do something similar.
Yeah, if Boser can go back to that lateral movement Boser, I'll be completely cool with that. But yeah.
Yeah, Latifi's just too small for the division. I know that he's tough as nails. He went all the rounds with Derek Lewis, but it's not a good move for him, man.
It's not a good move. And the fight with Derek Lewis, I'm actually remembering it now. Like, all that they did was, like, Derek Lewis kept trying to throw flying knees, and they would just clinch.
What a shit fight.
Yeah, it was a shit fight.
You either get shit fights with Derek Lewis or, like, the best fights. So it's... Take it or leave it.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you took somebody, but I got Tanner Boser. I think he might knock him out too.
Yeah, I took Tanner Boser too. We're gonna agree on that. We're both going Tanner Boser. Move right into the next one: Montana De La Rosa versus Ariane Lipski. You want to take this one, Dan? You want me to do it?
You got it. I got the next one. The
All
next
right,
one I
cool.
went on.
De La Rosa 2-2-1 in her last 5 against some really great competition. She's got 9 wins by sub, has a BJJ brown belt, averages 2 takedowns per fight. She does get hit a little too much than I'd like, but isn't afraid to strike. She's going to be taking on Ariane Lipski, 2-3 in her last 5, mostly wins by KO, TKO, but just like De La Rosa, has a negative striking differential, and both have striking accuracies in the 30% range, which is pretty poor. I think De La Rosa has fought and beat much better competition than Lipski. I think De La Rosa has the more well-rounded game as well, so I'm going to go with Montana De La Rosa in this one.
Short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah, I don't got much to say about this one.
Yeah. I'm gonna call the upset. I'm gonna take Lipski in this fight. She was able to pull out a knee bar in 1 minute and 28 seconds against Luana Carolina. That was pretty impressive. I know she lost that last fight against Antonia Shevchenko, where she kind of got demolished.
Yeah.
But I think she's definitely working furiously on her takedown defense to make sure that doesn't happen again. And she has fought some high level people. She's fought Joanne Calderwood. She fought Meatball Molly. I mean, that's about it when it comes to high level competition.
Yeah, but she lost those fights, right?
But she did lose, but like she went the distance, you know. It's not like she got finished or anything. Yeah. Montana De La Rosa, obviously a solid fighter in her own right. Borderline top 15. But it's just like I think Lipski's got a bit of a higher ceiling. I mean, they're both pretty young, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Lipski's 26 and Lipski's 27 and De La Rosa's 26. So it's tough out of these flyweights, but I'm gonna go with the King's MMA product and Ariane Lipski. I think she has a nice little game plan and pulls off the win over Montana De La Rosa. Because every time Montana De La Rosa is kind of like a wild card, like you don't really know what's gonna happen with her.
I don't know about much of a wild card, but I think that she's a gatekeeper, I would say, for the top 10 to 15 range. And I don't know, I don't really see. I liked Ariane Lipski when she first was got into the UFC, but since then she hasn't really showed me much. I don't really like what I'm seeing. But I don't know. I don't really like this fight at all. I'm not going to be betting on this fight.
I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't necessarily bet on this fight. I would maybe bet decision.
Yeah, that might be a solid idea, but nah, it's not for me. All right, we're disagreeing. I'm going Montana De La Rosa. Dan is going Ariane Lipski, and we're gonna move right into the next one: Makwan AMIRKHANI versus Carmela Kirk.
So Makwan AMIRKHANI, he's got amateur boxing experience, freestyle wrestling, and Greco-Roman background in wrestling as well. He's well-rounded. Obviously, he's well-rounded by saying all that. His last 3 losses in the UFC came to Edson Barboza, Shane Burgos, and Arnold Allen. That's nothing to hang your head about whatsoever.
That's like the top cream of the
crop. Those are pretty good guys, you know, like what's it called? He went the distance with Barboza, which is tough to do. He got finished by Shane Burgos and fought Arnold Allen to a unanimous decision. So AMIRKHANI is no joke. He also has that nasty anaconda choke he put on Danny Henry. He loves anaconda choke. He has 2 anaconda chokes in the UFC. He got one in 2019. He got one in 2020. Now we got Carmela Kirk, who's stepping up on short notice at the UFC Fight Pass. Thank God has all the fights. He had a shot in the Contender Series and he got knocked out by Billy Quarantillo, but that'll happen. But anyway, getting back into them. AMIRKHANI's got a questionable chin, I would say. But his stand up is good. He's got the capability to stand, but he does prefer the ground. He does have solid fundamentals though. His jab is pretty great. Um, he was KO'd by Burgos, dropped by Barboza twice. Um, but he still went the distance. But his sub game is great. His wrestling is just okay. He was definitely no match for Barboza. He's fought high level competition, but hasn't really beat them, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Kamala Kirk, he's come this is a short notice fight, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken, right?
it is.
Yeah, Kamala Kirk, solid stand up, technical, very technical stand up. Front kick is nasty. He just splits the guard with his front kick. It's beautiful. Throws a he loves throwing those low leg kicks. High arsenal striker. He has like so many weapons at his disposal. He's shown solid sub defense. Definitely more of a stand up fighter. All the fundamentals are there when it comes to standing up. He's also got solid takedown defense too. Like when he gets taken down, he gets back up quickly. He fought Daniel Swain in his last fight, and he broke this guy back he broke this guy mentally so badly that the guy retired. Um, he said, "I don't want to fight anymore." Um, he also I've seen him grapple, and he can grab the back very quickly too. So he can really do he can kind of do it all. I'm not saying his grappling's on AMIRKHANI's level, but this is a kind of a striker versus grappler matchup, and I'm gonna take Kirk in this. I think that AMIRKHANI does like to stand for a little bit, so yeah, I'm gonna take Kirk. I might end up regretting this, but I think Kirk is a solid underdog pick.
All right. AMIRKHANI, 3-2 in his last 5. Grappler, like Dan said, 11 of his victories come in by sub. He averages 3 takedowns per fight at 57% takedown defense. He does have a negative striking differential of -1.2. Takes way too much damage on the feet. Like what Dan was talking about also, all those knockdowns. He's been knocked down 5 times in his last 5 fights. Taking on Kamala Kirk in this one, who lost his Contender Series fight to Billy Quarantillo back in 2019, but since went 2-1 in the LFA. All 11 of his wins are by finish. He's taken this fight on short notice, like we said before, and did fight his last fight at 155, and this one is featherweight, I believe. I'm worried that that might be a little bit too much weight for him. Like, he might struggle with that weight cut. I'm going to go with AMIRKHANI in this one, but there's a lot of question marks around Kirk, and I think we're going to see him. We're going to be able to gauge where he's at with this fight.
Exactly. I'm kind of taking a leap of faith on this one.
Yeah. The next one, we got Tom Breeze versus Antonio Arroyo. Very interesting matchup, in my opinion. Tom Breeze, 2-3 in his last 5. He's finished 11 out of 12 of his wins. He's mostly a stand-up fighter. Hasn't gotten a takedown in his entire 8-fight UFC career. He does have a plus 0.5 striking differential, 60% striking defense. He's going to be taking on Antonio Arroyo, who we know has a huge hole in his game. He gets taken down pretty easily. He got taken down 12 times his last time out against Duran Win. And got taken down 9 times in his 3 UFC fights before that. I don't know if he's necessarily going to have to worry too much about that in this fight. Arroyo has a plus 1.4 striking differential, 70% striking defense. Like I said before, his takedown defense is his downfall, sitting at 32%. But I do see this fight staying on the feet. And if that's the case, Arroyo is the more technical of the two on the feet. And I'm going to go with the underdog in Arroyo in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree. I think that Tom Breeze he's got the UFC experience. You know, he's been fighting in the UFC since 2015. He has some wins over some solid guys as well. Nobody that crazy, but he's got some crazy power. He knocked out KB Bular with a power jab.
Yeah.
Like
That guy was terrible, though.
yeah, he's pretty bad. But what's it called? Arroyo is definitely an intriguing opponent, and for the odds, I'm pretty sure Tom Breeze is he's a minus 245 favorite. So it's hard for me to bet against that because I also do think Tom Breeze is going to win. I love taking underdogs, but I just can't take it in this fight. It's a tough one, but I'm gonna have to roll with Tom Breeze. I think he's got the veteran. I think he's got the craftsmanship. I think he makes it dirty, makes it ugly if he has to. He can take the fight and move it up against the fence. Who knows? Maybe he sees the enormous hole in Arroyo's game and starts taking him down at will. I think Tom Breeze finds a way to win this fight.
All right, we're gonna be disagreeing on this one. Dan's going Tom Breeze. I'm going Antonio Arroyo, and we're gonna move right into the next one: Dusko Todorovic versus Gregory Rodriguez. Is this me or you, Dan?
You got it.
I got it. Dusko Todorovic, 2-1 in the UFC, coming off a brutal KO loss against Punahele Soriano, who averages 7.5 strikes per minute. Todorovic, I'm talking about, at 63% striking accuracy and a +2 striking differential. 9 out of his 10 wins were by finish. He has black belts in BJJ and Taekwondo. He's really good wherever the fight goes. He's going to be taking on Gregory Rodriguez, who lost his Contender Series fight to Jordan Williams in a round 1 knockout, and since got 2 wins in the LFA. 8 of his 9 wins have come by finish, but I didn't really like what I saw in that Jordan Williams fight. I think Dusko will be able to get back in the win column, though, this weekend. He's the more well-rounded of the two, and he's definitely fought better competition. He even faced Michel Paella in some sort of Middle Eastern, I forget the name of it, but like a Middle East.
You knocked him out.
Yeah, he knocked him out too. That was his one fight before the
getting into Townsend. I know that's not saying that much, but still.
But still, like, he was in the UFC for. I know he didn't win it. I don't think he won a fight, Daquan Townsend, actually, in the UFC. But yeah, I think Todorovic is able to get back on the right side of the road.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. And he's not that much of a favorite either. He's a -160 favorite. Gregory Rodriguez, I know he's coming off of 2 straight wins in the LFA, and he did look good in those 2 fights.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Finishes, I think.
What?
I think there were 2 finishes too.
Yeah, 2 knockouts.
Yeah.
But I really like Dusko all around as a fighter. He's pretty technical. I think he kind of got caught against Soriano,
He did. Soriano's got some crazy punching power.
Yeah, so that fight was interesting. I took Dusko that time, and I like Dusko as a prospect. So I'm gonna keep my prediction where it was, and I'm gonna go Dusko in this fight.
Yeah, I still believe in Dusko. I like what I saw. I think it was just a little slip up there, and I think that he's an all-around pretty good prospect for the future.
Good that we agree.
Awesome. Both going to Doverick. We're going to move right into the next one. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Miguel Baeza.
Yeah, I'll take it away from here. Santiago Ponzinibbio is ATT affiliate, absolute beast. I know he's coming off of a knockout loss to Li Jianlang, which was quite shocking to be honest.
I took Ponzinibbio, but he was out for 3 years.
Yeah, he was out for a while, and before that, he was on a tear.
Hell yeah.
He beat Sean Strickland, lost to got knocked out by Lorenz Larkin. Okay. Beat Court McGee, Zach Cummings, Nordine Taleb, Gunnar Nelson, Mike Perry, he knocked out Neil Magny and knocked out Gunnar Nelson. So this guy's no joke. Baeza also is no joke. Caramel Thunder, I wouldn't fuck with this guy. He knocked out Matt Brown pretty cleanly with a beautiful left hook.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys that got one of those low cap. I think he got a leg kick win back in 2019. I remember seeing that.
I love those.
And then he most recently beat Takashi Soto with an arm triangle choke. So this guy's pretty solid. He's well-rounded. He's fighting out of MMA Masters. Ricardo Lamas trains there. Anthony Rocco Martin, Rafael Alves, Colby Covington, Danny Chavez, Ilya Topuria. Like solid group of people to be training with. But yeah, I this fight's tough.
It is.
They're both. This fight's staying on the feet, I think. For the most part. Can you agree? Do you agree with me there?
I could see that.
Let me see. What's it called? Baeza. He throws a solid amount of output when he fights, and he's coming off of 2 performance of the night victories over Takashi Soto and Matt Brown. So color me impressed. He knocked out Hector Aldana before that. So he's finished his last 3. Santiago Ponzinibbio is the biggest test of his entire career so far. But after that last loss, how do we know that he still has it? That's my question mark going into it. So I'm going to take Baeza in this fight. I just think I don't know. It's hard for me to trust Santiago right now.
Yeah, I get it. So you're taking Baeza?
Yeah, I like how active he is. I like how he's taking steps up in competition and still finishing fights. If he gets a finish over Santiago Ponzinibbio, he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Miguel Baeza, 4-0 in the UFC. He's got a black belt in BJJ. 7 out of his 10 wins have come by KO TKO. He's got a plus 0.75 striking differential and some really heavy hands, getting knockdowns in 3 of his 4 UFC fights, not to mention 100% takedown defense. He's going to be taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio. Recently, he came back to the UFC after a 3-year layoff and broke his 7-fight winning streak in a KO loss to Li Jilang. We didn't really get to see too much from Ponzinibbio. A lot of question marks, like Dan said. But what we did see was he kind of got off to a slow start, and Lee was just outworking him, and then eventually was able to get the KO, right?
I'm pretty sure it was a KO.
Yeah, I think there was some ring rust for Ponzinibbio being out for 3 years. He is still only 34 years old. I don't think he's done. There is a lot of question marks, though. This is, for me, this fight is razor thin. I think if the Ponzinibbio that we saw fought Neil Magny gets out there, I think he's able to give Baeza his first career loss. So I guess I'm going to go with Ponzinibbio in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but the fact that Ponzinibbio was originally supposed to fight Muslim Sakilov and then Li Jianlang came up on short notice and knocked him out kind of worries me, I don't you don't expect the short notice guy to come in and knock the guy out,
Yeah, that's true. But it was Li Jilang is great competition.
Yeah,
and that's it was a tough short notice fight. I don't care which side. That's a tough fight for anyone.
Yeah, but he got slept. He got slept in his last fight.
I'm what my reasoning is. I'm thinking that had to have been ring rust. It had to have been. It's not like he was like. No, he's got a lot of fights for someone who's 34 years old. He's got 31 fights. I don't know. I think it's super close. Anything could happen.
I love Caramel Thunder. I just he's on a hot streak right now, and
yes,
I feel like he's just improving and improving and improving. He's got a great frame for the division. His reach isn't fantastic at 74.5, but he is 6'2". Santiago Ponzinibbio is 6 foot with a 73-inch reach, so he's got a 2-inch height advantage and a 1.5-inch reach advantage. So it's pretty close when it comes to that. Like I said, I like Baeza overall.
I'll say
He
Ponzinibbio
has
decision win.
what?
I say Ponzinibbio takes him into like the third round decision win. That's how I see him winning this one.
Interesting. I mean, Baeza's been fighting since 2011, so he's been fighting since he was like 17 years old on the amateur circuit, and he's never lost a fight. So I think he extends his record to 11-0 after this. We'll say that
Yeah, we'll see. Um,
this fight
curious
has
to see his gas tank.
put an asterisk on this fight because this fight is like the people's main event in my opinion.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun one to watch. The next one, I'm really looking forward to watching though. Oh, so we're disagreeing on that one. I'm going Santiago Ponzinibbio, and Dan's going Miguel Baeza, and we're gonna move right into the next one. Roland Dolidze versus Laureano Staropoli. Dolidze, 2-1 in the UFC, coming off his first career and UFC loss to Trevin Giles in a very close decision loss. He's the former world grappling champion and has a 7 of 8 of his wins have been by finish. He has a plus 1.1 striking differential, 60% striking defense, and a 5-inch reach advantage on Saturday. Also 1.75 takedowns at 50% accuracy. He's taken on Laureano Staropoli, who's 2-2 in the UFC, riding a 2-fight losing streak. He's a stand-up fighter, winning mostly by KO TKO, but has a slightly negative striking differential, only 32% striking defense. He's he's got a slightly negative he's actually going to be moving up to middleweight in this fight, which is no
Oh,
Staropoli. I think this is pretty similar. I think that's a big question mark. I hate when people move up in the 15 pounds. Once it reaches like the 15-pound different weight classes, I'm like, that's a lot of weight. Can you put on that much weight?
I don't know what you're gonna do, you know?
Yeah, it's a big move, and I don't like to see it. I think this one's pretty simple for me, though. I'm gonna go with the bigger, more well-rounded fighter in Dolidze.
See, I want to take Dolidze, but the thing is, every time this guy fights, he's got so much potential, but he just doesn't throw enough volume. He just doesn't. Like that Trevin Giles fight, people thought like at first I had money on him, so like I thought Dolidze won, and I went back and watched it again. Giles won that fight. Giles,
but Dolidze outstruck him.
Dolidze outstruck him, but
Dolidze outstruck him 75-43 total strikes.
I mean, if you're like at one point they were on the ground, so like if you're just hitting somebody in the ribs while they're down, you get 20 strikes in, it doesn't really matter, you know?
But strikes are strikes.
Strikes are strikes, but if some guy's on top of you and you're landing a little bit more,
that's even better. Now you get the takedown and control time and the strikes. That's even better.
No, he was on his back.
That's domination.
He was on his back.
He was on his back?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Up those strikes?
Yeah, how many times you see somebody getting taken down and they're just doing this to the other guy, you know? I just remember watching that fight back and I'm like, Giles, like Dolidze won the first round pretty decisively, and then the next 2 rounds Giles just took it. But Giles should have lost the fight on being stupid. He has very low fight IQ.
He does. But I think that fight was so close. It was
a close fight.
The fact that it was unanimous decision, I don't think that's fair. I think that was a split decision fight. I do think Dolidze might have lost it, but still.
Yeah, I mean, Giles was just lighting him up with that jab when it came down to later. So like his defense worries me. But I'm gonna take Dolidze again.
Yeah.
Tentatively. I'm not gonna bet on him though.
No. I think I am. I think Dolidze, his biggest problem, I don't think is his striking, like you said. I think his gas tank, he does slow down as the fight goes on a little bit because he gets so worked up in the first round. He throws like the kitchen sink at you, and then he's got to make up for it in those later rounds. And he kind of gasses a bit. He's got to just get his mind in the right, like be able to save your energy for the next rounds. But
I feel like he doesn't throw enough volume. He just stands there and like if you hit him, he laughs, and then like he's a psychopath. He
yeah,
just like, but he's not doing anything. He doesn't do enough to like have that moniker. Like when you get hit, like go knock some people out cold flat and then do that. I just think it's like he kind of does this showboating thing, and it's just I don't know. I
look,
don't trust
he's very
Storiano
green
though,
to the
so I'm
sport.
gonna take the lead today.
He's very green to the sport, and he's got a wrestling background. So I can see why you're saying that his striking isn't a high caliber. I don't think it is high caliber yet. He has got to work on that. But
I mean, he has a bunch of wins via knockout.
yeah, he's got heavy hands.
Yeah, I just want to see him throw more hands, like he just needs to be if he throws more volume, he could be a problem in the division. It's just a question of if he does.
Yeah. All right. We're both going with Delete, right there in that one.
Yeah, I don't love the pick, but I'm going with Delete.
All right, we're gonna move right into the next one. Walt Harris versus Marcin Tybura. Is this me or you? What do you want?
The
co-main?
last one.
What's up?
I think you got the last one, so I'll take this one.
Okay.
All right, Walt, the big ticket. That's his nickname?
I think so. I don't even know.
I feel bad for him because he hasn't gotten a win since his daughter's tragic death.
Oh God.
But they did put him up against absolute monsters. They put him up against Alistair Overeem, which I still don't know why they cut Overeem.
Yeah, he was doing
like why like Overeem was a top 5 heavyweight.
Yeah.
At the very least, a gatekeeper to increase name value on some of your younger guys.
I agree. I didn't understand that.
It just didn't make sense.
Maybe it was
he got dropped by a knee to the right to the solar plexus by Alexander Volkov. Tybura, on the other hand, he's another guy who he's coming off of a TKO win over to Greg Hardy. Actually, he took him to the ground, and like Marcin Tybura took a beating in the first round, and in the second round, he took Greg Hardy down and started beating on him. It was crazy. Great fight all around. Tybura likes it. He'll stand up with you. Like he's not scared to stand with you. He's gone a bunch of fights with just standing with people.
Hell yeah.
He has some knockout losses on his record. He's been knocked out by one of the headliners on the card, Augusto Sakai, in 59 seconds, about 2+ years ago. He's been knocked out by Derek Lewis. He's been beaten by Fabricio Verdum when Fabricio Verdum was like 40. So I don't look at Tybura as like top level heavyweight. Looking at the odds, actually, Walt Harris is a +145 underdog, and I think that those odds are pretty reflectory of this fight. Tybura is like the more like complete mixed martial artist, while Walt Harris is more of like the athletic freak. But I think that Walt Harris he's 6'5" with an 81-inch reach. I fucking love that frame. I love that frame. Tell me you don't love that frame.
Oh, I love it.
And he hits so hard, He
does.
Like he almost finished Overeem in that fight. Yeah, I think Walt Harris gets back into the big ticket, gets another win again. He knocks out Marcin Tybura. These are heavyweights. Heavyweights go to sleep. What's it called? 3 out of Tybura's on a 4-fight win streak. That doesn't happen very often in the heavyweight division. And he hasn't been knocked out. He got knocked out, I guess, almost 2.5 years ago. He's on pace to get knocked out.
So is
So
Walt.
I'm
Walt
taking
Harris
Walt
gets
Harris.
Walt Harris gets knocked out all the time. He's got 9 losses.
I
Most
mean, he does have 9 losses, but like he was like one of them is from an illegal kick,
well,
and then
not counting that one, obviously.
what?
Not counting that one.
Here you are.
No, you're not counting an illegal kick. That's a no contest.
He got DQ'd.
Oh, he threw it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he got submitted by Fabricio Verdum in 2017. That'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's from the beginning of his career where people just took him down, you know? Um, he's only like, and he got knocked out once by Nikita Krylov back in 2014 though, so it's been a minute. I like Walt Harris. I like the southpaw. I think he hits him with a big left hand and he gets it done.
Yeah, Walt.
Hard not to root for Walt Harris.
Yeah, Walt Harris.
Maybe there's some emotion there, but I got Walt Harris.
Walt Harris, 2-2, 1 no contest in his last 5. He's got 13 pro wins, all by KO TKO. He does have 9 losses, like I said, but before to go with it, 6 of them by KO TKO. He's taken on a good amount of damage and
He gasses too.
yeah, isn't a spring chicken. He's 37 years old. He has a minus 0.5 striking differential. He will have a 3-inch reach advantage this Saturday when he takes on Marcin Tybura, who's 4-1 in his last 5. Very well rounded, like Dan said. Winning equally by KO, sub, and decision, 7 of each. He's got a plus 0.5 striking differential with 50% striking defense and accuracy, 1.6 takedowns to go along with it at 45% takedown accuracy and 85% takedown defense. Tybura is definitely the more complete, like Dan said, mixed martial artist and has some really great cardio to go along with it. I'm going to go Tybura in this one.
I mean, I can completely see Tybura taking Walt Harris to the ground, flattening him out, and getting a TKO. Like, this is another fight. It's like, just go with the fight not going the distance.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I like that.
this fight's not going the distance. I don't like the Walt Harris pick. I don't even really like the pick I like on this fight is it doesn't go the distance.
I like that. I would like that too. Yeah. So we're going to be split on this one. Dan's going Walt Harris. I'm going Marcin Tybura, and we're going to move right into the main event. Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Augusto Sakai. Rozenstruik 3-2 in his last 5, with 10 of his 11 wins coming by KO TKO, with his only losses coming from Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane. He's got a 76-8 kickboxing record. He's got a slightly negative striking differential and absorbs too much damage with only 38 striking defense, especially for big guys like this.
I mean, a lot of it is coming from that last fight against Cyril Gane, where he got outstruck by like
3-1.
Or he got outstruck exactly by 60 punches. So he would have a positive differential in the striking advantage.
Yeah, he just got out kickboxed.
Yeah, completely.
He kind of he does this thing where he just does like a punch for punch type fight. Like he just like you strike him and you just like strike each other back and see who falls asleep first.
He's
gonna
a counter striker, yeah.
He's gonna be taking on Augusto Sakai, who's 4-1 in his last 5, coming off his first UFC loss to Overeem in a barn burner 5-round fight that ended in Augusto getting KO'd. He has a plus 1.3 striking differential, throws a lot of volume, more than Rozenstruik by a little bit, I would say, but Rozenstruik has that power advantage. Sakai seems to really slow down. In his last time out, it's this first time we've seen him in the 5th round in the UFC, and he really slowed down in the championship rounds. This fight is very close in my mind, but I see someone going to sleep, and I'm going to go with Rozenstruik getting his hand raised.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I'm impressed by Augusto Sakai's record. He does have a knockout win over Marcin Tybura in under a minute in 2019. Yeah. Like, that's tough to do. But then he fought Blagoy Ivanov and won a close split.
Very close.
That wasn't a fun fight.
No.
And then he fought the demolition man, Alistair Overeem, and got finished in that one, you know. So it's a tough one. It really is. I'm gonna go Rozenstruik as well. I think Rozenstruik has shown that he can go 5 rounds and not really like slow down too much. Actually, no, not slow down at all.
I
He
think he's got
knocked
great. He's
he
got great
knocked
cardio.
Alistair Overeem out with 5 seconds left in a fight that he was losing.
Yeah, he's got solid. I think he's got better cardio than Sakai. Sakai really slowed down in that 4th round, almost like, and was just getting picked apart by Overeem, like standing there. Overeem had like 80%.
That's what I'm saying. Like, before that, like before the Overeem win, he landed a beautiful counter left hook on Andre Arlovsky in 29 seconds, knocked him out cold, knocked out Alan Crowder with a jab in 9 seconds. Like, he's got some power. Back in 2018, before he fought in the UFC at Fearless 3 Thai box gala, he won via uppercut 10 seconds into the first round. This guy fucking can knock people out. Let's just say that. We saw what he did to Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos was just circling around him, and then boom, hits that big punch.
All it took.
I think something kind of similar happens in this fight. This is honestly really close though, because Sakai's an absolute beast. Sakai throws a lot of volume out there himself. He has a solid chin. I know he got knocked out by Alistair Overeem, but he does have a solid chin, and he does finish a lot of fights. But as the later the fight goes on, the more advantage goes to Rozenstruik. I'm still pissed at Rozenstruik for being so inactive against the Gane fight that I want to pick Sakai, but I do think that Biggie Boy is going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, I really like Sakai. Don't get me wrong. I think that he's great, especially heavyweight. He's a top 10 guy for sure, but Rozenstruik been fed to the wolves, man.
Rozenstruik is the top 5
with your own
my top 5 heavyweight.
Only like you're gonna lose to Francis Ngannou, you're gonna lose to Cyril Gane. That's gonna happen, you know.
Yeah,
he's fighting those guys. It's great to have fought them, have that experience, and
yeah, I want to see where they're both ranked right now. I'm checking where they're
7
both
and 9,
ranked.
I think, and Rozenstruik is 7.
Rozenstruik is 6 and Sakai is 9. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, the top 5 is Ngannou champ, then Stipe, Derek Lewis, Cyril Gane, Curtis Blades, Volkov. Yeah, I'm excited for Gane versus Volkov coming up.
Yeah, that should be fun.
We both locked in Rozenstruik on this one, right?
Yes, we did. That's a lock.
Bullshit on
That's
the heavyweight division's got some interesting fights ahead of it. Like, what do you do with the winner of Cyril Gane versus Volkov? Do you have them fight Curtis Blades?
Yeah, Curtis Blades needs to fight someone. He's coming off that loss. Get him in there. He's top 5. He's for sure.
Yeah, and if Cyril Gane can show like some solid takedown defense and just keep it on the feet, he's gonna destroy Curtis Blades.
And you know, Derek Lewis also, I don't think he's got a fight coming up.
He's gonna fight Francis.
Is he? But
yeah,
it hasn't been said yet, right?
John Jones apparently is taking a year off.
I saw that.
I mean, hey, if like people are pissed about that, but if he wants to take a year off and really refine on his
what the fuck? Why not?
And get to where he needs to be to become a heavyweight champ, then do it up, you know?
I agree. Do what you got to do, man.
That's what I'm saying. So
I wasn't hating on him for that. I thought that was stupid. Who cares?
You what?
I thought that was stupid that people were angry at it, actually. That didn't make any sense for me.
They're like
all the time.
Like, people are thinking he's scared of Ngannou, and he's just like, well, I need more time to prepare for Ngannou. Like, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, he probably is scared. That's why he's taking a year off. He needs to get better. He needs to come up with a game plan for him, dude. It's not a walk in the park.
He needs to find the perfect combination of having the increased size and still having that lightning quick speed he had at light heavyweight.
I think that's and I see him on the treadmill on those videos. The guy's cardio is like made for like 15 rounds right now.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. It's actually funny. He's so big now, but he's still got those fucking pencil legs. His ankles.
His quads look bigger though.
Yeah,
his
but
quads look
it always
goes
bigger. Down to like these little stick ankles, and it's just funny to see.
Yeah.
But that's just how that's how he's built, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, me too. Should be fun.
That'll come.
Yeah.
But yeah, tune in next week when we cover the I think it is at least.
Let me check.
Yeah, UFC 263.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great card.
Yeah, we're looking at Israel Adesanya versus Marvin Vettori, Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno, and Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz.
And that fight's gonna be 5 rounds. Damian Maia versus Bilal. Bilal deserves that top 7 spot.
He's our friend of the podcast.
Jamal Hill versus Paul Craig. Kind of a perfect matchup for Jamal Hill.
Really like that fight.
Brad Riddell versus Drew Dober. Going to be a great stand-up fight.
I can't believe that's on the prelims. That's great. That's going to be awesome.
Eric Anders versus Darren the Dentist Stewart. That should be an interesting fight. Didn't something happen in their last fight?
It was a illegal. Eric Anders hit him with an illegal knee.
Oh yeah, but Darren Stewart rocked him, and then Anders rocked Stewart. Like that fight was crazy.
Anders was winning. I will say that.
But Stewart had him hurt at one point.
He did. It was a close fight. Slight edge to Anders before he put that illegal knee on him. But it's going to be totally different, I think, this next fight. They know each other a little bit. It's going to be a totally different game plan, I would say. And the most disrespectful move, I'm going to get into this next week, but the most disrespectful move of it all, on the second fight into the prelims, Lauren Murphy versus JoJo Calderwood, both ranked in the top 5. And
both ranked, yeah. Lauren Murphy, I think, is ranked 2.
Yeah, and JoJo like 4. It's just doesn't make any sense, and it's such a slap.
Name recognition, man. That's what it is.
Whatever. It's fucking stupid. All right, we're gonna wrap it up.
They're trying to build up Jamal Hill as a possible contender in the future.
Yeah, I like Jamal Hill. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of a light heavyweight. What's it called? Max Holloway almost in a way.
Really?
You know, like he doesn't hit very hard. He's just a volume striker, and he'll just keep hitting you.
He's fun to watch, man. But Paul Craig, that's his toughest competition yet. Paul Craig, I would say.
People said the same thing about OSP.
That's true. I had OSP in that one.
And he took OSP out.
He did. And then OSP is I don't know what's going on with him now. He's lost a couple. He's lost at least like 3 of his last 4, something like that.
Didn't he win his last fight? Did he win his last fight?
Yeah, he fight who's that dude?
No, his last fight was Jamal Hill.
Oh, okay.
He's scheduled to fight Maxim Grishin later on this month.
Oh, okay.
Or it's May 31st now. By the time this video is out, it'll be June. So,
all right.
Unless you get it out tonight.
Could be. We'll see. Still early. But all right, we're gonna wrap it up here. UFC Vegas 28. Next week.
Rozenstruik, don't let us down.